Hi guys, welcome back. It's your girl Yummy.com. Thank you for joining me, my internet friends. Thank you for liking, subscribing, and overall vibing and being here. It is great to see you guys again. I'm back with another Tipsy movie review. Yes, people. Today we are going to be talking about, again, I'm tricking you. It's not a movie. It's a TV series, and it's most likely on Netflix because that's all I watch. Netflix, Hulu, HBO Max, or Max, whatever. Those are usually what I watch. So, it's on Netflix. It's a Netflix series, and you know it was in Korea, as I was, so I had to talk about it. Basically, I'm talking about XO Kitty. XO Kitty is the spin-off of the trilogy that was To All the Boys I Loved Before. It was written by Jenny Han. It's a very beautiful story about a girl who wrote all these letters to all these boys who she loved before, and her sister, Kitty, who is starring this series, sends them out, and she ends up in a fake relationship with this one guy, Peter Kavinsky, and then the whole trilogy just goes through a bunch of like will they, won't they, like their ups and downs as each other's first and final loves. Beautiful series, all the applause. It was a teenage girl, and I'm saying that not to say that it's only for teenage girls, but it was that typical cheesy romance, but it hit all the right spots, you know what I mean? It was just like profound enough to not be super annoying, but like was still very much in the vein of like teen comedy geared towards girls type stuff. Anyways, with that being said, I'm going to be talking about XO Kitty, which is the spinoff. XO Kitty starts with our main character, Catherine Song Tuppy, Kitty to her friends. She basically has this long distance relationship that started in a deleted scene that we never saw, of her meeting this guy named Dae in Korea, and then they start a 4-year pen pal relationship, which I guess is why they were like, oh, she's an adult now, she's a junior, which I'm like, makes me think, how old was Kitty before? I'm not particularly sure. But anyways, so at this point, she gets a call that she's been accepted to the school that her mother used to go to. It's the Korean International School Seoul KISS, which I guess Korean International is different than Seoul. Whatever. That's where her mom went, and ironically, that is where Dae goes. So yes, she is technically, chasing after a boy to a foreign country. Do not recommend. But she's also following her mom's legacy and wanting to know more about her. And that's where she goes under the guise of. I say under the guise because she rarely actually does any of that. It's mostly about Dae and like the guys and stuff.
I think I'd rather shove scissors in my ears. Seriously, this whole week all I've been hearing is Dae, necklace, Yuri, Alex, necklace, Alex, Yuri, Dae, necklace. You're like a robot that's malfunctioning, stuck on a loop. And you came here to have new experiences and live your life.
Like, a little bit about her mom, but like barely. And as we go on through the story, we see her relationship with Dae. I'm gonna tell you right now, this is a spoiler review, a spoiler talk, if you will. I will be talking about main plot points because some of them are dumb and some of them are good. On this channel, like, I don't talk about things that I don't like, and I don't not like this show. There's a vein for it. I've watched it like 4 times already, so that's like 40, well, half of 40 is like 20 hours I've dedicated to it because they're like 30-minute episodes, and there's 10 of the episodes. I've watched it 4 times, so at least 20 hours I've dedicated of my life to it, and then whatever plus it takes me to record this and edit it. But I will say that like it itches a part of my brain that is prepubescent and wanting to live her Wattpad fantasy, her archive onlys, her fanfic, her YN moments. You know what I mean? Like when you were, I don't know about you guys, but when I was young, One Direction was my everything. Jonas Brothers was my everything. Like, I used to love reading fanfiction, not specifically about One Direction or Jonas Brothers. I make it a rule at that time never to read fanfiction about real people, only about TV shows. So like Hannah Montana, I guess you would say fanfiction, which sounds weird. Whatever. Regardless, it itches that part of my brain, and I think it itches that part of my brain so well that I'm just willing to like not disregard the other stuff that I don't particularly like or care about, but like, kind of write it off or like explain it away a little bit. Not fully, but a little bit. With that being said, we enter in the first episode. You know, she meets everyone. She meets Q, who's the track star, American track star with the heart of gold, as is literally pointed out to us whenever we meet him, or the first time we meet him.
Are you Q? Track star, fellow American, heart of gold?
Guilty as charged. I feel like we should hug.
She meets Minho, who is, we will talk about later because we will have a whole section in this video. She meets Yuri. The first person actually she meets is Yuri, who is the daughter of a hotel mogul, and, you know, as told by the Blackpink song, a bad bitch.
아버님이 두바이에 새로운 호텔 오픈하셨다면서요?
Okay. Then she also meets like just a bunch of other people. Alex, her professor, Professor Lee, Principal Lim, who ends up being her mom's ex-best friend when her mom went to the school, and is also Yuri's mother. And you meet all these characters, and it's like fun at first, but then it becomes painfully aware that they knew their plot wouldn't have so much legs to stand on, so they just started throwing things at the wall and seeing what stuck.
And the wall happened to be Velcro, so everything stuck.
Going into it, it has a fake relationship between Day and Yuri because Day is apparently poor and Yuri is gay. Spoiler alert, has a girlfriend, Juliana.
He's faking it. That's a fake relationship.
Spoiler alert, this is the thing that really made me upset. Kitty went to this school. She pitched it to her parents as, I'll have Day there. He'll be my translator and my everything. She did not even tell this man that she was coming to this school. She was like, I'll just surprise him and he'll do everything for me because he loves me. And I'm like, girl, that is not it. Like, you can love people, but that is not the tea. That is not what you go for.
You have family here?
No, just my boyfriend. We met in Seoul a few years ago. I can't wait to surprise him.
Wait, he has no clue that you moved here?
No.
So she goes into this whole experience. Day and Yuri are in a fake relationship.
미안한데 우리가 진짜 빨리 헤어졌으면 좋겠다.
You and me both, kid.
She sees that. She's like, you're a two-timer. He's like, oh man, okay, I really want to tell Kitty because I really love her. She's the love of my life. There's some typical hijinks. Her room, I guess she's under Song Covey, which is a boy's name in Korean, or could be a boy's name in Korean. So they put her in the boys' dorm. The boy dorm they put her in, the one with Day, Q, and Minho.
This is my room.
You're listed as Song Covey.
So?
Song can be a guy's name. That's why they assigned you to the guy's dorm.
What?
She did this on purpose, to be closer to Day. And me.
Okay.
I told you lot, she was hitting on me on the plane ride over.
I was not hitting on you.
Wild. She ends up staying there because her roommate is like live streaming her, and it's really weird.
My roommate put me on some weird website as I was sleeping? My God.
I don't see the appeal.
Yet, you somehow found the site.
Whatever, but now she's living with her ex-boyfriend. All these hijinks is going on. She's like, oh, I should still like be friends with him, but then she's like, I can't. And then Yuri's like, you better not snitch. This is my secret ticket to the grave, motherfucker. So he's like, I gotta keep my mouth shut. It's a lot of hijinks. So like, I'm gonna like tell you what I like and tell you what I dislike. What I dislike. What I dislike is that a lot of the plot lines, like I said, they threw a lot of plot lines at the wall because they knew that the formula was so, not archaic, but it was so typical. Like, there's a fake relationship, a gay best friend, drama, a love triangle that turned into like too much. Like, there's so many of these classic elements that are like, I guess you want to say K-drama elements, but also teen drama elements. Like, I feel like it would have been stronger if they just stuck to the classics. Like, if they had just like picked one of these archetypes that they were going to do, one or two of them, and just made the story that, shortened it like by like 3 or 4 episodes, and we were like, okay, this is the typical story, added some really cool shots because you have the background of all of Seoul, so you might as well do that.
I've been chilling with the bros. Korea is the home. They be like, welcome to Seoul, huh? Welcome to Seoul, huh? Welcome to Seoul. In the zone, I've been chilling with the bros. Korea is the home. They be like, welcome to Seoul, huh? Welcome to Seoul, huh? from the song.
Chillin' out in Korea, you're there, I'm here. Want vibes, hit me up. You know where we are. Go hard, no fear. I'm with Josh and Ollie, and this music ain't a hobby. They say that we're linking Boogie. I said I'll be in the lobby.
Enunciate or elongate these other characters that you have floating around in the background. That leads me to my next point. None of the characters matter. I know more about Florian, who is Q's boyfriend later that Kitty like hooks him up with. I know more about him than I know about Q, who was supposed to be like our secondary best friend to the main character. I also hated how Florian seemed to blame all of his issues on Q.
I love you. That's not an explanation.
Listen, I love you so much that I've let other parts of my life fall away. Like doing homework. And I love you so much that I can't picture not being here with you.
It seemed really irresponsible. He was saying like, oh, I love you so much that I let other parts of my life fall to the wayside. And that just seems like you have poor time management. That's not on me, and you cannot use me as an excuse for you to cheat. And it made me dislike his character just even more. I know about him more than I know about Day, like, who is our main lead. I know more about him than I do about Kitty herself. If I didn't watch To All the Boys I Loved Before, I would know nothing about Kitty, other than she has a dead mom and gives away her dead mom's necklace so often. Like, it's actually wild. I'm like, do you even love her? Sorry, that's rude. But like, you know what I mean? Like, the boy keeps losing it and like giving it back, and like she just ends up I'm like, this is the family heirloom, ma'am. Chill out. Regardless, again, you know more about other characters that aren't important than you do about the ones that are. The only character that's really kind of fleshed out is Yuri, I want to say, but even then, not well enough, like, to explain why her and her mom have this long-standing beef. Like, as fleshed out as she is, the only parts that are fleshed out is that she's gay. That's the fleshed out part. Nothing else in her personality is fleshed out, because like they build her out to be like this very much typical Regina George mean girl. She intros with a Blackpink song. Like, her dance scene was kind of weak. Yuri's, I mean, but I'm a sucker for a BB song, so I let it slide. And you're like, we supposed to think that this is the bad bitch who's gonna ruin Kitty's life. And then they kind of give her a heart of gold midway, but then also make her weirdly jealous. Like, they just start throwing character traits at us to make her like her, because spoiler alert, Kitty ends up falling in love with her in the middle of the season. And it's very confusing. None of us saw it coming, and I feel like the only reason they did this was because they were like, we are following such a, like, everyone can predict exactly how this plot is gonna go. Let's throw a wrench in it and make it real difficult. It was just messy. I would say it was very messy.
Paintings in a picture frame. It's only you to see right now in this century, and I wonder if you see me in another lifetime. I kiss your cheek and said that I'd rather stay here by your side.
Another thing that I didn't like is that, again, I talked about it a little bit before, but like, she says that she came to this school really, like, yes, for Day, but mostly to like figure out her mom and her mom's story. And while she does go on a wacky adventure that involves her finding a possible half-brother who's not really her half-brother but ends up being Yuri's half-brother and the son of Principal Lim and Professor Lee, that's like the max that she gets out of her experience with her mom, other than standing at a couple landmarks. I feel like the show would have gained a lot of respect from me if you took some like camera liberties and, like, you know, added some flashbacks, you know, a nice shot of like when her and Yuri are hugging on the bed and we're like, we're the next generation. It could have been a nice like fade to like seeing her mom and Yuri.
But they were really good friends. And we're the next generation.
Kind of do that dynamic and be best friends. Like, it could have like really emphasized the show and made it a lot better, especially adding the flashbacks, transitions, things. You have the whole of Seoul to your disposal, and then like it would have been really cool. There could have been so many camera elements and changes, and if they were My only thought is that, oh, maybe they didn't want to reveal the mom or dedicate themselves to an actor and actress to play them in case they want to do like another spin-off of when her mom was actually at school. But then they showed the picture of her mom and Principal Lim, and so I was like, okay, so you already chose the actors, you could have done cool flashbacks. I don't understand it. Regardless, I had a lot of gripes. I'm probably going to mention some, I'm probably forgetting some. This is random, but I also dislike how they used Korean as like a secret language. Like whenever Dae and Yuri would not want Kitty to know what's going on.
쳐다본다. 웃어.
아니야. 친구로서 얘기하고 있었던 거야.
됐고, 난 내 가짜 남친이 진짜 남친 역할 좀 제대로 해줬으면 좋겠는데.
Okay. I am well aware you were talking about me.
They would speak in Korean, or other people around them to know what's going on. They would speak in Korean. Dae and Minho did it too, and it just didn't make any sense to me because you're in Korea where everyone else will understand you. So, but I do have a lot of gripes. I feel like they focused in too much on archetypes. I feel like they threw in curveballs for the sake of throwing in curveballs. I feel like they didn't lean into they like had a couple scenes where they leaned into like the cheesy K-drama feel. There's a scene in the cafeteria.
Weird, yes, but fake. I mean, come on, life ain't a K-drama.
Where like Dae's walking in and the wind is blowing or whatever, and it's like a little bit cheesy and it's fun and it's tongue-in-cheek, but they don't lean into that enough to make it like a staple thing, to like, you know, a feeling. It's just the random pop-ins. And the characters again were super underdeveloped, which was a tragic shame because they had some really cool characters like Minho, which leads me to say my positives about the show. One of my biggest positives is that I loved Minho. I got second man syndrome.
Your favorite mess that you can clean up, and I'm your favorite stress that you've learned to love. Cruising on the west side, sipping on box wine, venti, going loco on a loco head honcho, serving myself a dream and fashion model.
No
Wanna be
English.
iconic. Come for me, haters, tragedy. If I run a kid, that's a minute.
Listen, I don't think that Kitty deserves Minho. I deserve Minho.
So sorry.
Watch where you're going.
So you do speak English.
Busted.
Welcome to Kiss.
But, you know, I don't think Kitty deserves Yuri either, honestly. She deserves to be with Dae because Dae's stupid sometimes, and I'm like, y'all can be stupid together. But I think that Minho is like, for all that he is underdeveloped, he is still shines. Yes, it is because he is extremely hot. I think his real name is Lee Sung-hyun. I don't know. I will put it here. But I know that he is sisters with the girl who plays Yuri. Jia Kim. And so like that's really cool, but I just think that yes, he's very hot, but I think that his character like pieces were really interesting. The little flashes of humanity that we saw, like when he's talking to his mom, anytime he's talking to his mom.
10번 카드. 야.
너 이게 무슨 뜻인지 알지?
사랑이 넘쳐나네.
When he's actually getting upset with Dae for like not being a communicative friend.
He lied. And lied. And lied.
I was mad, but then I forgave him.
Wow. You're as trusting as my dad's third wife.
Hey, Kitty and I are good. Leave it alone.
I'm not good. You lied to me too. A lot. I wouldn't do that to a friend. Or someone I care about.
Like, which is an actual problem that they gloss over a lot. I think that that's great. I think that his whole like liking Kitty, I saw it coming because they put a scene in the trailer.
Oh my day.
Which was a scene from his dream anyways, the dream sequence. They both Kitty and Minho had dream sequences. Kitty had one about Yuri, he had one about Kitty. I saw it coming, but I really wish it would have been fleshed out a little bit better along with his character. I feel like it was just like he had the dream. Dreams are reality. Like, it could have been done better.
You had a sex dream. Was it about Day?
No.
Ooh, not Day.
No, I didn't say that I had a sex dream.
Okay, you didn't have to. Spill.
It doesn't even matter because dreams don't mean anything.
She's right. They don't mean anything. You can have a sex dream about someone you're repulsed by in real life.
Yes, exactly. Thank you, Mino. Mino could have a sex dream about, like, me.
You had a sex dream about Kitty.
No, I didn't. If I did have a sex dream about Kitty, it would be a sex nightmare.
Oh my god.
I'm not hearing a denial.
It doesn't matter, because dreams don't mean anything.
Exactly. I hate Mayo.
And I hate Kitty.
Thank you.
But the pieces that we do have are really heartwarming, are really cute, are really fun, are really quirky. And I do like his like relationship with Madison, how like sad he was about Kitty, how like protective he is kind of his mom, like him being able to cook. I thought that was all super great. I loved Mino as a character.
Hostels are filled with friendly people.
I'm friendly to my friends.
Again, he came in with a blaze of glory. Like, they played Hot by 17. Like, and he just kicked in the door.
And you?
Me... what?
You must be thinking about your mum too. A lot this week.
Yeah, I am. But in a good way. I can feel her all around me here. Thanks, Mino.
You're welcome.
My emotions! My emotion!
Speaking of Hot by 17, they had a lot of K-pop songs, and this was what was like, oh, you made this movie, a show, specifically to hop on this like trend of Korea being very popular right now, being very cool, and that's like fine, but like they had so many K-pop songs at some point, and some of them made sense. They had EXO by Somi, which made the most sense to me because it was literally EXO Kitty. They had a lot of Somi songs. They had like What You Waiting For. They had Dum Dum. They had a lot of Somi songs. They threw in Telepathy by BTS. Hot by 17. They ended on the first episode on Darling by 17. They had a lot. They had Momoland, and I actually really loved it. They wove it in pretty well. Some of them were a bit random, but they wove it in pretty well, and I liked it. And this goes under something that I like, and the dynamic, and something that needs to change a little bit. I like the dynamics between Yuri and her mom. I wish it was more fleshed out, but I also like the comparison of Yuri and her mom and Kitty and her mom. Like, they're complete opposites. Kitty idolizes her mom so much and loves her so much and wants nothing more than to be a beautiful reflection of her mother, while Yuri's bane of existence is her mother.
No, it wasn't. It's because you're ashamed. And all my life I thought it was of me, but really, you're ashamed of yourself. You're young and spoiled. So were you when you had a baby. How's that secret working out for you now?
Damn! I had to do what was best for my family then, and I am doing what is best for my family now.
Well, your best sucks!
Like, you really see it in the scene where Kitty's like, oh, you want to better understand her? And my mom, and Yuri's like, no, I want to destroy her.
키티가 그러는데 엄마랑 자기 엄마랑 키스 같이 다녔다고 서로 알 거라는데?
That's why we need to find more photos of our moms. I need to know what she's hiding.
To understand her better.
No, to destroy her.
Damn, that's terrifying.
And like, you really see that dynamic of how different they are with their moms, but I feel like, again, with flashbacks, they could have fleshed out that dynamic so much more, and it could have been so like a really juxtaposition-y part that really kind of emphasis and pushed the storyline along.
Wonder if my mom ever stood here. She loved hiking. She used to take my sisters all the time. At least that's what they told me.
My mom would take me to the department store and forget me there. She'd send a nanny back to get me.
You know that our moms knew each other at Kiss? Crazy, right?
Yeah. Crazy.
I loved Alex, who was the professor, who was Professor Lim's, Principal Lim and Professor Lee's son. He was really there for Kitty. It was getting a little weird to me. I was like scared they were gonna be like, oh, she has a crush on him, but they didn't, which I was like, thank goodness. I couldn't handle it. But I really did like his character. He was very sweet. I love an Australian accent, as I said.
I might have been raised by white people, but I do know that it's frowned upon to put your feet where you eat in Korea.
I don't like, again, it's going back to things that I don't like. I don't like his father, Professor Lee. He sucked. Like, he sucked. And I think he was racist.
Not have chosen to teach at an international school. Western teenagers tend to forget their manners.
Like, he was like, I hate working at an international school. Kids overseas have no manners. Blah, 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 blah. He was just a Debbie Downer. He made everyone miserable. He made Professor Alex miserable. He made Kitty miserable. He took no mercy on anyone and was just an asshole the entire time. And then he gets the benefit of being Alex's dad. I think he won too much. And possibly getting back together with his first love, he got too much out of being a complete dirtbag and a complete D-bag. Like, just really too much. I do also love, speaking of him, I love the reoccurrence of everybody wants to rule the world. That's kind of the theme song in, you learn about it in To All the Boys I Loved Before, that was their mom's favorite song, but you also learn about it more in this, that it wasn't just her mom's favorite song, but like Professor Lee loves that song, Principal Lim loves that song. It was really the song of their generation, of their friend group, and I really like the scene where they're at the party and Yuri does like a remix to it because she's a DJ. That was really cool. There again is a lot of beauty in these scenes, a lot of fun girl poppy moments. But there's also a lot of garbage to wade through, you know what I mean? Like, I'm not expecting it to be like Sense8 or something that's entirely mind-boggling. I know this is what it is. It's a teen drama. But with seeing that what they've done with To All the Boys I've Loved Before, which upon rewatch is a little cheesy, but it's nowhere near as cheesy and annoying as this, because the biggest issue, like I've said the things I like, said the things I didn't like. The biggest issue is Kitty itself as a main character. Kitty was a perfect side character. She was a know-it-all, she was the matchmaker, and it was great. But in this, it just feels like she relied on that, and also it relied on people telling us that she has changed and that she is a good person.
Say it, or I'll kill your husband. I'll do it, I'll gut him like a fish. You're a good person. Oh, thank you. I'm a good, such a good, real good person. I'm a good person, yes, it's true.
I'm here to learn more about her. Like, if I stood in the places that she stood, I could maybe capture her essence. And, I mean, none of this is what I expected to learn, obviously.
Instead of her actually changing and being a good person, if you know what I mean. Like, she's like, I've learned not to meddle. And Alex is like, oh, you've learned a lot. And I'm like, where? She has learned absolutely nothing. I don't think she has. I think you're lying to me, Alex. I don't remember her changing. I don't remember her progressing as a character or any kind of character growth for her, for Day. The only people who had character growth was Yuri.
I'm gay. Full stop. End of discussion. I just came out to my mom. I'm gay.
Oh my god, welcome.
Oh, I feel amazing.
And Minho. Those are the only two people.
I believe I was with her for a reason. Long legs? No. She showed me I'm ready for something real.
Wow. Only you could come out of getting dumped somehow feeling better about yourself.
Maybe Madison, kind of. I don't know. Another thing that I forgot to mention that I did like is that they had a lot of cameos in this that I really liked. They had our Captain Korea from 2 p.m.
I wanna take you to my house
playing Ocean Park. We love to see it.
Hi, my mother, Tommy, says hello, Mr. Park.
Tommy, your mother is an incredible woman. Did she ever tell you about the time I ran into her at Sundance? She kept me warm on a very cold night.
Excuse me?
They had the mom, Minho's mom. She is the Korean Barbie. Fun fact, I first learned about her because she was on a show called Slam Dunk Sisters with Somi and the girl from 21. Why am I blanking on her name? It starts with an M.
Show me what you got.
Like, she was in a show with them, and I loved her in that. But she is the Korean Barbie, so everyone who was like, when did she have him? When there's like a meme going on where they're like, when did she have him? When she was 5?
우리 아들.
엄마.
That's his mom. They literally look the same age. Asian truly don't raise him. So he feels lonely because he gets neglected by his mom. But you know what? She's probably busy being studied by scientists for being immortal. So who can blame her?
I'm like, no, she's literally just always looks like that. She's ageless, stunning. The girl from Cherry Bullet was in it. I think she played like an idol that Minho was talking to or whatever.
That's intriguing. But I refuse to be sloppy seconds. You tell Minho I'll be back at 6 o'clock tomorrow night. He better clear the rest of his schedule. When he has a night with me, he won't be seeing anyone else after.
It's like little cameos that I kind of also liked. But with that being said, all of the spoilers that I've given you, I have to give it a drink. And I'm going to give it I'm going to give it a Coors Light. Because that seems like the most American drink I can think of. Because as much as this show is rooted in Korea and, you know, her Korean is terrible, but like, you know, all of these things, it's very, very American nonsense. It's like, it's giving 2009 writer strike. That's what it's giving, like the American 2009 writer strike. That is what it's giving. Like, the lines weren't all the way there. There were some that were cheesy and cringy and just should have never been written. There were some that were just very much like inspired by the 90s. Like, oh, y'all don't know Shania Twain here? Like,
you think talking bad about Yuri scores you points with me? Well, that don't impress me much. Seriously? Is Shania Twain just not a thing here? God, where is Hugh when you need him? Whatever. Yuri and I may not be friends, but who are you to talk about her like that? Women are not just here for your judging pleasure. Also, FYI, I have seen Yuri up close and I can confidently tell you her nose is annoyingly perfect.
Very much inspired by the 90s. So I'm gonna give it a Coors Light, something soup in America, you know, it's America, because even though it is in Korea, it just feels very American, which is, I feel like a sad thing a little bit, because it's like you had so much. Look at the material. You had Korea as your backdrop. You had endless Korean dramas to pull from, to make like kind of references and inspose and like really something to glisten about, but you just didn't. You just kept it very standard American, which is fine. I mean, it's an American show, but I mean, if you're just gonna have it in Korea, I would have loved more Korean elements in it, and less Mr. Lee, if I'm being honest. Now, I am talking about this on the show, so it does bode well, and I do like the show.
Kitty is a very weird, very dumb show. But like, I don't know, it was just the exact right kind of dumb for me. Like, I don't mean this in a derogatory way, but like, if you just turn your brain off and watch it for what it is, and I enjoyed myself a fair bit. It's very much like American Girl gets to live out her K-drama, Wattpad, self-insert fantasy kind of thing, you know? It's kind of like Emily in Paris, but like not nearly as bad. not nearly as bad. Although apparently there were some Korean people who had some thoughts about how Korea and Korean people were portrayed in the show, which, like, I don't know enough about that to say anything either way. But, like, have y'all seen how literally any non-Korean person is portrayed in Korean shows? But, like, okay, EXO Kitty is infinitely more silly than To All the Boys. But in a weird way, I actually found it to be a little more realistic about how, like, teen love and relationships, like, are. Because, like, in those movies, even though Lara Jean met several guys who were way better for her than Peter, like, she always had to end up with Peter at the end because growing up and changing your mind is somehow seen as, like, failing or giving up or something. But in EXO Kitty, like, she's into Day, and then she's not. She's really into Yuri for a while, and then Minho is there, and she's like, Like, this is kind of how teen relationships are, you know? I mean, like, you don't really know what you like or what you're looking for, and then oftentimes you'll just kind of bounce from person to person, and you'll just be like, oh, golly gee, I sure wish I could date a guy who is emotionally unavailable and has anger issues, and then, like, 3 months later, you're like, nope, not gonna date another guy like that ever again for at least 6 weeks.
So I'm talking about it on Tipsy Movie Review. That means I do like it to some capacity, but I do feel like I'm talking about it because I feel like with a few tweaks, it could be amazing. I think that it has all the groundwork to be very amazing. I mean, I know they're gonna have a season 2 because they left off with the cliffhanger of her mom's, which I don't know why she's obsessed with her mom's first love, but the cliffhanger of her mom's first love being some guy named Simon, and Minho telling her that telling her that he loves her a little bit, or maybe a lot.
What are you doing here?
On this plane? Or in coach?
Both.
I'm on this plane because I'm going to see my mom in LA. I'm in coach because I thought maybe you could use a friend. I think I fell in love with you. A little bit. Or a lot.
On the plane, which is weird because I've been on that plane from South Korea to back to the US, and while to get to New York I feel like it's 14 hours, I feel like to get to LA it's still like 10. It's still a lot of hours to be sitting next to someone you just told you love and they did not give you a response. But yeah, I feel like with a little bit of tweaks, it could be perfect. It could be amazing. And if you need those tweaks for season 2, Jenny, call me. If you don't, Mino, which I really gotta call him by his real name, you can still call me. I looked it up. He was born in 1995, so. But with that being said, I'm Yummy.com. Thank you for joining me, my internet friends. Don't worry, I'll be back, so stay tuned.